All right, as I read through, you'll have to fill in your notes. Everything that you need to write down has already been underlined in red. So we're looking at different types of circuits. We have a closed circuit versus an open circuit. So what a closed circuit is the pathway for the electrons to flow through is complete. An open circuit is when the pathway for the electrons to flow through has been broken and electrons are at a standstill, so they have nowhere to move. Here is a picture of both your closed circuit and an open circuit with a switch. So if we look at our closed circuit, it's closed because that switch is connecting those wires. But in this open circuit, the switch is open and we don't have a continuous connection for those electrons to flow through. What a switch is a device that turns the circuit on and off by closing or opening the circuit. A closed switch completes the circuit so the electrons can flow, and an open switch means that there is a break in the pathway and the electrons cannot move through the circuit. There are two types of circuits. We have series and a parallel circuit. A series circuit has one pathway for the electrons to flow. A parallel circuit has multiple pathways for the electrons to flow. There are two pictures of our own human body that represent our circuits in our body and how the one, our digestive system, is like a series circuit. So there's only one way for food to enter and it leaves through one way. So there's no multiple pathways, it follows a whole system. Now, if we're looking at our circulatory system, it has multiple pathways. So we can see that blood pumping through. Red is the oxygenated blood, the blue is returning back to the heart. And we see there are multiple pathways, it's not just one set series. Here we have a diagram of a series circuit. It contains a switch and 3 light bulbs following one after the other. An electrical circuit in which the components are arranged one after another is your series circuit. In a series circuit, there's only one path for the electrons to travel. If the path becomes incomplete, then no electrons can flow. The amount of current is the same throughout, and if you add more bulbs, then the light will be dimmer. So the more loads added means that they have to share the total energy, which means less energy for each bulb, therefore they are dimmer. I know we talked about this example in class. An old Christmas tree lights, if one light bulb was to go out or get wrecked, the whole string of lights is out. So you can write that example down. Also pause the video when you need to write your notes. Here's another picture of your series. And we'll talk about parallel circuits. So an electrical circuit where the path divides into 2 or more paths before recombining to complete the circuit. So here we have a picture of our parallel circuit. In a parallel circuit, they have 1 or more junctions, which is the point where the circuit divides into different paths or where paths combine. A break in one path does not affect the other paths because there is still that flow, that continuous connection. Adding another path does not affect the resistance of other paths. So one bulb will glow just as bright as 3 bulbs. Example, your newer Christmas tree lights. One bulb burns out and the rest will stay lit. Here's a picture of a parallel circuit. So here those R's are just representing resistors. So an example of a resistor could be those light bulbs. And each one of them, let's say this pathway here, sorry about that. This pathway here, if it was to get disconnected, it does not affect this pathway. So this would still work even if that other one was broken. There's still other ways for those electrons to flow. Here are some more pictures comparing the series circuit to that parallel. So here is a picture. We have these light bulbs. There is one pathway here and there's one pathway here for my parallel circuit. But in my series, only one pathway. And then you'll have to fill out this table comparing series and parallel circuits with regards to voltage, current, and resistance. So in our series circuit, each load uses a portion or a share of the total energy supplied by the battery, less voltage for each load. Current. The current is the same throughout the entire circuit as it can only flow in one direction. The current decreases as more loads are added. Because loads are in a line, each one takes some energy, providing less for the next load in line. In a parallel circuit, each load uses all the energy supplied by the battery, which means more voltage for each load. The current divides into each pathway. Each pathway gets a portion of the total current. More loads has less effect on current and decreases the overall resistance within the pathway. Loads are separated into different pathways, which means there's less resistance in one pathway, so the loads can produce more energy. So go ahead, pause the video, write what you need to. I'm going to scroll up because there was a really good picture of a parallel circuit where it was showing you your volts. So here we have our plug-in, it's giving 120 volts, and we have our 60 watt light bulb. So they are sharing, they each get a portion of that energy.